Damn it.
Hey everybody, so just want to do a little video. Working on the shoebox. We're definitely making some progress on the airbags. So we have the lower mounts done, and we have the plates done for the top. So we'll be getting back to that in the next, hopefully this weekend. We'll while those mounted in the car. I got some other plates cut, but just want to do a quick little video. Why do I do this? Great question, right? Great question. There's no real reason. My brother and my wife, I pitched this idea of doing a channel to them. They're like, yes, actually you should do it. And because there's a bunch of other channels out there that do stuff, and it is what it is. You know, I do a lot of stuff here. I build a lot of stuff. You know, and the videos, I'll be perfectly honest, they're not exactly what you call professional quality. I say a lot of catch up words like and all this other crap, and you know, language isn't real clean, but I'm working on it. But really, at the end of the day, like, the entire building process is an outlet for me to deal with stress, which I'm sure it is with many of you. You go to build these things, and it's not necessarily to produce a professional, you know, like end user thing, like you build it for somebody else. Like, most of us are literally just building this for us. You get out in the garage, you use your hands, you build something, whether it's good or not, it makes you feel good. Like you made something with your hands, right? You produced something, and whether you like it or not, like deep down in your core, that makes you feel good, and it really does. Like it, whether it's a piece of garbage or not, like it is what it is. Like, and the thing is, like, as you make stuff, you're gonna become better. So I've been working mainly Volkswagens since I was like 15. And Volkswagens have kind of been like my thing. Mainly it dealt with the friends I hung around with in high school. They were all Volkswagen guys. Now we're not talking about like air-cooled like Bugs, although my first car was, at 15, was a 62 Bug. It was a chick I was dating at the time. Her uncle had a 62 Bug in their garage that was like rotting away. And I was like, I want that, because Bugs are super cool. And I really love a Type 1 Beetle. And at some point in time, I will get another one, and we're gonna build it and we'll cruise it. But mainly talking about rabbits. So like 80s, early 80s, so the water cooled eras, up through the Mark IIs, which is what my 91 is. So the Mark II era was 85 to 92 in the US. And then they went on from there and became complete pieces of shit. But anyway, that's, I've always been a Volkswagen guy. But I've always had a love for cars, all right? And really, anything with a motor. I've always been intrigued by anything that moves. If you ask my father, I was always taking apart his stuff, no matter what it was. You know, I didn't really know how to put it back together at the time, but I wanted to know how it worked. So from an early age, I was always intrigued by, why does this thing work? Why does it do what it does? Like, so on and so forth. And like one of my, if you want to call it dreams, was to be a mechanical engineer, because that's what they do. They build mechanical things. They make mechanical contraptions that move through different sequences to produce, you know, an in motion or in part, whatever. And that's currently what I'm doing for school. It only took me 20 years to finally, you know, sack up and face school in the face, because quite frankly, there's a lot of math and a lot of other stuff. And while I know I can do it, I'm kind of lazy. Let's just be honest. It takes a lot of hard work. Currently, I'm doing calculus and some other stuff, and it does take a lot of work. So I'm 38, going back to school, learning calculus and all this other stuff. And while inherently in the schoolwork itself isn't incredibly difficult, trying to prioritize everything with work and school and family life, of course, 2 teenage kids, and a wife and whatnot, and then trying to deal with these projects, things can get a little convoluted. Definitely has been a struggle. So we're trying to do that. But doing these videos really wasn't something I ever saw myself doing. I've watched a fair amount of YouTube videos in my days. A lot of people who literally put themselves out there and are comfortable doing it. But the problem is, I've never really been open to criticism. I know exactly what I do isn't necessarily the right thing, and I know people are going to have issues with it, and that's fine. And as I've gotten older and progressed through work with what I currently do, which is kind of like a public speaking platform-ish, it's like an instructor type, it's opened me up to doing this, open myself to criticism, and doing these videos. And I don't know. It's kind of fun. Same time, it's a huge pain in the butt, because I'm not really one to just dick around and like video all this stuff. I'm like, oh, I have to get these right angles. And as y'all have seen, the videos are kind of one-angled, one-sided type deal, and I really don't. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure all this out. We haven't done a lot of videos, and really, in the grand scheme of things, I'm still trying to figure out this whole YouTube thing and videoing stuff, because at the end of the day, I'm really a behind-the-scenes guy who just likes to build stuff and just likes to get it done. And if you haven't noticed throughout my videos, my plans change as I go throughout the video. I have a very loose plan when I start with a video. And a lot of times why I'm saying and all this other stuff is because my plan is changing as I am literally working through the process. And that's usually where I'm catching up, because I don't know how to explain this. It's all in my head, and a lot of times, even my head is having a hard time processing what I'm doing and what I'm understanding, the things I need to do in order to get to where I need to go. So a lot of this is really is new for me. Having proper tools is a big thing. So in the past few years, we got the lathe, we got some other stuff, and especially with my welding. So I've known how to weld from an early age, but I've never really took the time to understand the process and produce nice welds. I can stick some bubble gum together. I always have been able to do that, and I can stick 2 pieces of metal together really well. But in the past, let's say, year, I've really tried to focus on the welding aspect of my welds and producing quality, welds. Like stuff that looks good and it not only holds really well, but it looks really nice. And a lot has to do with your machine, right? We got the little Hobart, little Handler 210. It does pretty decent. At some point, I'd like to step up to like a Miller 252, something like that. But with the materials we're dealing with, really at the thickest we deal with is like 3/8. And that machine does fine. I don't really need to spend like $1,500 on a big blue machine that the little Hobart can do just fine. And the little Hobart, we built the cart and our plasma fits underneath it and all that stuff. So at the other end of that is our plasma cutter. Y'all kind of saw me cut some stuff with the rear end and stuff. And I'm not real familiar with the machine, I'll be perfectly honest. I've only used it a few times, and you saw the end results. They were sloppy. So whenever I was making the bag mounts and stuff for the rear end on the Ford, well, actually the C-notch for the shoebox, It's all 1/4 inch. So I was like, we need to use the plasma because I have it, and why not? And it's a lot of cutting. And health wise, right? So running a death wheel or grinding wheel, that the wheel gives off a lot of stuff, right? And it produces a lot of sparks and all this other stuff. With the plasma, of course, it produces an insane amount of sparks, but it gets done faster. I don't have to deal with a bunch of death wheels, so on and so forth. Anyway, that's whatever. So it's kind of where we're at. Making these videos, it's fun. I'm not gonna say it's not. Putting our stuff out there to kind of get known for what we're doing, kind of letting other people see what's going on, maybe with our not necessarily textbook approaches to stuff, shall we say. But at the end of the day, we get stuff done. And if we don't, then I scrap it and I make new stuff and I learn from it. And really the biggest thing that I'm trying to come across these videos is anybody can do this. I'm not a professional fabricator. Mainly at the end of the day, I really half the time don't know what I'm doing, more or less. I'm coming up with stuff on the fly. And there's a lot of people out there who are internet warriors, keyboard warriors, whatever you want to call them, who spout off information about how, oh, I would do this or do that, but at the end of the day, they've never built anything. Whereas I'm the opposite. I go out, I do my research. I might ask some questions to people I know, but for the most part, I really don't ask questions to other people. I do a bunch of research and look at other people's stuff to see what they've come up with. And really, at the end of the day, I just try it. I try and build my own stuff, and I learn from it. I've learned a lot through doing my trial process. And you know, it may not be the cheapest route, but I learn a lot from it. And for me, that's worth more than any research or anything I could do. You know, I'm a big person of hands-on learning rather than reading from a book. You can read from a book only so much, but at the end of the day, you either got to build something or just shut up. But yeah, so that's kind of what I do. A lot of it's just really deal with stress. You know, life, work. I do have a normal job. This isn't my job, which the next 4 years or so, I'd like for this to kind of be my job. Not necessarily YouTube, just building stuff in general. But we'll see. You know, life throws crazy ass wrenches in all your plans. I'm not really a big planner, as you've seen, right? But you know, it is what it is. Life does what it does, as you all know. So I hope you all have enjoyed the video so far. You all have seen kind of a swing from Harleys, which still have it. Still have the shovel head. It is very much under some plastic because I do work in this little, well, I wouldn't say little, but 11 by 24 1.5 car garage that I share with all my workout equipment and a lathe and all this other crap. But I'm not gonna let the bike sit outside or in a shed, so it stays in here. But if nobody buys that thing, you'll probably see some future videos because we will hardtail it and probably make it a little more traditional rather than a little more traditional chopper rather than bobber as it is right now. The Springer's nice, but I want a traditional front end. So if nobody buys it, it is for sale, of course. It has been for a few months. We're down to $8 grand. But if nobody buys it, that's fine. You know, not a big deal. Just gives me more projects. So the Ford is coming along. Hopefully have the rear end done this weekend. We did get the Heim joints in for the paint hard bar. The bag mounts are almost done. I have to cut some sleeves kind of spacer sleeves for the upper mounts, and then cut a big old 4-inch hole in our top plate. Weld that all together, and that should be in the car, so that should be done this weekend. After that, all we have is the panhard bar and the shock mounts. I have some QA1 shocks from back in the day when like 2014-15. I had a Colorado that I lowered. I had put QA1 shocks on it, and I totaled it. I rear-ended a Buick Regal trying to eat my McDonald's sandwich that I dropped on the floor and pick it up, and they were stopped short and I rear-ended them. Anyway, it wasn't a real fun truck, but that's beside the point. I had the rear shocks off of it, and we're gonna try and make those work. They're adjustable shocks and all that other stuff, so they have around 12 inches of travel. The bags have 8, so we should be able to make them work. I'm gonna go pick up panhard bar tubing tomorrow. Should be able to get that in. So hopefully the whole rear end of the Ford will be done. And really, the rear end setup is the big major fabrication point of the shoebox. You're gonna see some videos that come out. We did a 5-inch C-notch, which is done. We did the 2-link. The 2-link itself is done. I still need to weld up the cross member because it's kind of just floating in there. And we've changed the position and some other stuff, which you'll see. And then we got to weld the bag mounts on, do some other stuff. I've already done some other stuff, but yeah. It'll all come to something in the end. After this, I'm probably gonna cut out the floor. The floor is in rough shape, and the rear wheel wells are in rough shape. And to fit the gold tire, so the ride height's set at 5 inches, but it's based on a 670/15 bias ply. In order to bottom out the body, or close to, I don't want the body sitting on the ground, I want it sitting on bump stops. We're going to have to tub the rear end because the 670/15s are 27 inches tall and they bottom out on the wheel wells. So the wheel wells are shot on that car anyway, just like the rest of the sheet metal. It's all rusty and crusty. So we're probably going to raise the tubs at some point. Once we get the rear end done, the rear suspension down, we're going to raise the tubs because why not? Then we can put like a Detroit 20x8 and I can bottom this bastard down on the ground and drag tail. You don't have to worry about it. But we're gonna run the 2-link truck arms for now. At some point in the future, we're probably gonna switch to a 4-link. But for now, this will work. I mean, we are building it in the driveway, so that doesn't really help things. I do have a 4-link. I have a chromoly 4-link on the shelf, but that's for race car stuff. So if we put a 9-inch in the car, we'll probably put that on there because there's 3-inch tubes. So, but yeah, this has been fun. So that's kind of where we're at. It's kind of why I do these videos. Really, it's stress reliever. All right, life, family, work, all that shit. It can get to you, right? You gotta have some sort of outlet to deal with the stress, especially with, you know, previous experiences. Let's go with that. It can kind of cause you to lose your fucking mind sometimes. So, and then you'll lose it on the people you love the most, and then it's just a bunch of regret, so on and so forth. So really don't want to try to do that, you know, past life experiences and whatnot. So anyway, enough rambling. It is late, so yeah, hopefully some of y'all can relate. I feel like I've rambled a lot about random stuff, but that's kind of, you know, it's kind of where I just feel like doing a video. So look forward to some videos coming out about the C-notch on the shoebox, and a completion about the 2-link truck arms and the 4 with the airbags. hopefully have that all done by this weekend. They might be kind of meshed into one, so be patient with me, please. I'm still trying to sort out how to do videos and what needs to be on what video and so on and so forth. And I'm doing it all on a single GoPro, so I don't have a single angle or a bunch of angles and all this other stuff. So it is what it is. Still trying to figure out stuff. So hopefully this kind of resonates with some of you. But you know, if it doesn't, that's cool. You know, tell me down in the comments, you know, what do you do to deal with life? You know, like, this is what I do. This is how I deal with life, is building stuff, using my hands, screwing stuff up constantly. But it's part of the learning process, part of life. And it does create stress, but at the same time, it, you know, kind of takes your mind out of normal day-to-day stuff. It helps you alleviate and compartmentalize, and yeah, it's good stuff. So yeah, tell me how you guys deal with stuff. Yeah, just let me know. So take care. Hope everybody's doing well, and stay tuned for the next videos. I'll see y'all.